Hello and welcome to the Scott Sportscast. I am your host, Alex A. Scott. Today we have an episode of Alex and an Athlete. And today we have a very special guest, someone that I know personally and watched grow and develop into the star that he became. And I would like everybody to give a warm round of applause to Alex Lebroski. How's it going, pal?
What's up, boss? Is
Oh,
everything cool up there in California?
nope. It's on fire.
Oh, wow, lit.
Yeah, I walk outside in Fresno right now, and it looks like you're in Marina, just fog town, and 90 degrees, but
That's
it's
crazy.
foggy. Yeah, and it's all just smoke from the mountains.
Yeah, stay safe, man.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm safe from the fire at least, but I wear my mask whenever I go out.
Yeah.
So if any of you guys or females are in the Fresno or Oregon, Washington area, go ahead. If you have an N95 mask, go ahead and wear it whenever you're out with all of this smog and smoke in the air, because what it does is it reduces the particles in the air by 95%. So if the air quality is really bad out of 5 and you wear your mask, it'll be like you're breathing in level 1 good air. So make sure that you guys are, wearing your mask, not just for the virus, but also, save your lungs. You don't need a barbecue. But anyway, so how are you doing today? Where are you at?
I'm doing well. I'm in Southern California, Irvine. Uh, I just finished classes, grad school.
Very nice. So why don't you go ahead and give us a little introduction on yourself, and let's just do where you went to school, college, and any kind of activities that you're doing there in your degrees.
Yeah, let's do that. So start off with, I went to Seaside High School, graduated in '09, and ended up going to UC Irvine for undergrad. And then I went to grad school, but now I'm in Harvard University for global health.
Big shot.
Nah.
Don't sell yourself short. That's a very prestigious, tough school to get into, and the fact that you were able to not only get in, but you're almost done, just shows the level of person that you are. Nothing's too big for you, is it, Alex?
Nah.
So, how about we talk about early Alex? Were you always in California, in Seaside? Where'd you start out, and how did you make your way, if not?
So yeah, I always grew up in Seaside. Born at the Salinas Hospital, Natividad. I don't remember. And then
Long time ago, huh?
yeah, that's a long time ago. When was I born again?
Many,
Anyways,
many moons.
so yeah, Seaside High School. Grew up in that area.
Okay, and then so after high school, where did you end up going to school?
I ended up at UC Irvine. So that's between San Diego and LA.
Hmm. And that was for public health
Public health and chemistry. Yeah.
and chemistry. And then where else? You've been to a few colleges.
Oh yeah. So then after that, I worked for a little bit, traveled for a little bit, ended up at grad school for Yale, and then I ended up dropping out, and then I ended up enrolling in grad school for UC Irvine, and then I dropped out again, and then hopefully third time's the charm.
Oh yeah, I mean third time's the charm. Usually seems to be the old adage. I mean, you just learned twice on what you didn't want and
Yeah,
what wasn't working, and you found one that works. And that's the important part, is never give up. It's so easy nowadays to just give up on anything. it's a lot harder to work through it. And when you work through that adversity, that's when you really find out the type of person you are. Um, are your bones hollow or are they full? So if your bones are full, you're going to be able to take a lot more punishment that life has to throw out at you.
Oh, definitely.
So public health, what was the reason you wanted to go into public health?
Growing up, I've noticed there's inadequacies in, I guess, community healthcare. I've noticed a lot of people had to wait in long lines just to get their flu shot or just to see a doctor. Not even a doctor. They just saw a PA or a nurse, and they would wait like 2, 3 hours. And I just want to be a part of that health field.
Yeah, and we definitely need a lot of people in that kind of health field. My wife Josephine, she just hurt herself at work the other day. She is a caretaker for um, at a retirement facility for people with dementia. And one of the bigger ladies that she was trying to transfer ended up falling on her, twisting up her ankle, and sprained her wrist real bad. So they, of course, workman's comp, you got to go to the, like the doctors on duty. And she waited there for 4 hours. Well, there was only 3 people in there. And then they told her, oh, well, you actually have to go to the ER for that 4 hours later.
Wow. Pretty sure you can go to a mechanic and get your car fixed faster than that.
Oh, yeah. Jiffy Lube, have it done in a heartbeat. Get that oil change. Well, other than the lack of time in response to the healthcare, how would you compare it to healthcares around the world that you noticed?
Oh, so when I was in the Philippines as a medical intern, and also in Thailand as a medical intern, yeah, I've noticed it's worse over there, lesser developed countries. So still grateful for being here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot better, but it's far from perfect. There's always room for improvement. So let's talk about Lee Plains or Lebroski playing sports here. So was wrestling the only sport you ever did?
Oh no. I also engaged in cross country, football, swimming, diving, touching on gymnastics. Oh yeah, breakdancing.
Oh yeah, half of our wrestling season was a b-boy club.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we all got down flipping and spinning and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
What what made you kind of want to dabble into sports?
It all started in middle school. So I remember I was fat. I think maybe everyone in their lives at one point was overweight. I don't know, but in middle school I was fat and I just wanted to change myself. So one summer I decided to stop eating McDonald's and play DDR, Dance Dance Revolution, for the whole summer, every day for like 6 to 8 hours. And then I lost all that fat and got a six pack, and that's
That
all.
was
That's where it all started.
nice. That was right whenever they started putting the mats where you could play inside your
Yeah,
house, huh?
yeah, exactly.
Because man, I couldn't afford all those quarters to lose that kind of weight over a summer.
Right, that's a lot of quarters at the arcade.
But I remember anytime we would have little get-togethers, you, fam, Josh Hunt, everybody would start getting down on DDR, and I'm over here
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna stick to wrestling.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, that's when my redneck really comes out, trying to dance. Well, so out of all of the sports that you did, were how many of them were on a team, like an organized team?
I mean, all of them were cross country, wrestling, football, swimming, diving. But more
That was
individual.
all,
Sorry, what?
that was all at Seaside?
Yeah.
Nice. And so I didn't know that you did gymnastics. Elaborate on that. How was that?
Uh, oh, I kind of just did it in that 24 fitness gym back in Seaside. So I would work on tumbling. I was inspired by Shondell and Delvon. Shout out to them.
Oh yeah, I heard Shondell is it Shondell? One of them
Shondell
was
Underdo.
like circus kind of stuff out
Yeah,
there.
that's Shondell.
Yeah, underdo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that was awesome. I would love to go watch him perform live anytime. I
Oh,
would love to get
definitely.
on here actually. So, but so they inspired you to start doing gymnastics, and did that lead into breakdancing as well?
Yeah, pretty much. Started doing flips. Ended up being a powerhead in breakdancing.
And what's a power head?
It's like when you do all the acrobatic moves while incorporating rhythm and acrobatic moves.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So so the flippers, like the people that get thrown up in the air for cheerleading,
Yeah,
kind of
pretty much.
the stuntmen.
Yeah.
Nice. So out of all of the sports, which one became your favorite?
I actually was tied with football and wrestling.
Yeah. The problem with football, and I know you probably experienced that problem as well because we're the same weight class just about.
Yeah.
Was as soon as you get to a certain point in high school, size matters in football.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're only 5'6" and they're just throwing up to a 6'5" tight end in the end zone, you ain't gonna be able to jump high enough to block it.
Oh yeah.
So so that's why I ended up stopped playing football, was because 112 pounds soaking wet, 5'6". Um, it's just you can't take that kind of abuse and have your body later on in life. So I found a sport with a weight class. Now, football, what positions did you play?
Um, Back in school football,
Yeah,
I did running back and wide receiver.
nice.
But in street football, we played every position.
Mhm. Yeah, that's how street football works.
Yeah.
5 on
It's
5,
backyard
and
football. Yep.
you always got one guy complaining about wanting to be all-time QB.
Oh yeah.
See, I never wanted to be a QB. I was always defense, and I was a slot receiver and a cornerback, and I love the whole one-on-one aspect of it. So, whenever you're a receiver or you're a corner and you're lined up man to man, who wants it more at that point, you know?
Yeah.
Well, so how long did you play football in high school? When did you decide to stop?
So I played the first 2 years, ninth grade, 10th grade. And then in between, I decided to improve my other sports like wrestling, cross country, swimming.
Mhm. So tell me a little bit about cross country. How how was that experience with the coaches there at Seaside?
Coach Smith, I remember. I think he's retired now, but he was an awesome human being. He was also a photography teacher for our school.
Mhm.
And yeah, he taught me a lot of life lessons as well about how to grow up, be a man. I was pretty immature back then.
Oh, what? Really? You're immature in ninth grade? Oh,
Oh, it's pretty bad.
yeah. I remember. I was there with you when the.
Yep.
Oh man, we gave Sugar some. If he had hair, we'd give him gray hair. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But so how was it competing at cross country? Did you do well, middle of the pack, kind of? Any special feats?
Um, First, so I started in 10th grade. The first year, I didn't get varsity, but 11th grade, I surprised everybody because I started training off season, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna beat this tall guy. He was like 6'4", 6'5" Theo Gibson, and I was
Mhm.
like, I want to be faster than this really tall guy, and then I ended up being faster and ended up varsity. I was pretty happy. I kept telling myself I'm gonna run 5 minute miles, 5 minute miles. Let's do this. Let's do this. Ended up with the fastest time, 15:20 for my
Very
three
good.
mile time.
A 3-mile time, so 15,
Yeah,
20 a mile.
yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. It'd probably take me about 3 days. See, I was always a pretty decent runner. I just didn't enjoy it as much as other people. I
Hey, I got get the runner's high.
Yeah, exactly. And I just felt like I could never get it no matter how hard I tried. Cause I think my best mile I was sub 6 by like 2
Yeah,
seconds. It was like 58, 5:58 or 5:57, something like that. I did that once. Um, but running was never my strong suit. I was the guy who never wanted to run. I was like, stand and fight.
yeah,
Stand your
pretty
ground.
much.
Yeah. But so that's good. So what kind of training did you do in order to kind of push yourself to that next level? What did you have an uptake in?
I literally ran.
It
A
sounds
lot of
simple,
stretching.
but
Yeah, it sounds really simple, but it's actually more complicated than it's supposed to. Very analytical. So I started looking into my mile times, like what are my problems? I've noticed it was like my technique and like where my feet are aligned or my breathing. And then I improved my I guess respiratory endurance.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and it's just like anything else, you can't quit on it. You gotta go for it 100% and don't look back. Because as soon as you look back, you just lost a lot of ground that you could have made.
Oh yeah.
Now, wrestling. I want to say that was probably the sport you excelled at the most.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Anytime you have a state involved in any form is usually pretty good. So let's talk about wrestling. What made you go into the wrestling room day one, your very first practice?
I recall growing up with Michael Pham. He was very monkey like. He likes to jump around. He likes to fight. He likes to do combat. And I was like inspired by that. So I wanted to like learn how to defend myself from, I don't know, everyday bullying for my short stature. And he got me into wrestling. He's like, hey, join. First day is here.
Oh yeah. And then so you go through the first practice. What was it that made you come back for the next day?
That it was really hard. And I thought to myself, like, if I quit, then I'll never know what's like on the other side. So I just stuck with it.
Yeah. And that's the thing too is wow, you don't want to go through life with what ifs, you know.
Yeah.
And so your first season, you had a lot of learning and a lot of growing and a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah.
And so whenever we were training, I remember Alex Lee was always laughing, always giggling, always doing something. And and that kind of showed during your first year where you had to pay your dues. So walk us through your rookie year wrestling.
So my rookie year was pretty immature. I went to practice every day. I would just eat while all my friends were starving, cutting
Well,
weight.
90 pounds,
Oh yeah, I was 90 pounds. I had to get up to 103. So, I had to do my other workout. Um, I actually was pretty fit to begin with. Stamina wise, I can go all 3 rounds hard. I didn't win most of my matches. Lack of technique. lack of understanding, and all the little tricks. And that didn't change until the second year, 10th grade.
Yeah. And so to tell us about that change. What was it that changed for you? What made you say, "Hey, I wanna excel even more."
I told myself I want to go to state. I want to like set a really, really big goal for myself.
Okay, and
I want to be
when did you come up with that goal?
when I saw this Gilroy kid wrestle, and he was just clean. He was a star, and I was like, I want to be that kid, Jesse Delgado.
Screw him. Never got to wrestle him.
I know. Same here. I missed him by like I wanted to do like a what do you call those matches? Like charity matches kind of thing.
Exhibition.
Yeah, exhibition.
Yeah, and he ended up actually winning. Did he win or place the
Buddy placed.
in NCAA
Yeah,
his rookie year? I don't
was
know
a
if he
stud.
won, but I thought he placed.
I will look it
So
up later.
yeah, and he was a wrestler from Gilroy High. That's before all of you Cormier fans,
Yeah.
before he started coaching there. They've always had just a stud program. You
Oh
remember
yeah.
those Russian brothers that they had, Boris and Philippe Navash?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now those guys were studs.
Yeah.
They would have mopped Delgado with the floor. So I kind of interested to see where they're at nowadays. And so you saw Delgado and you said, I want to be on that level.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Um, and you just liked how smooth and fluid his technique and everything was.
Yeah.
Nice. So then you set the goal for state. Well, what was your kind of first couple steps on your mindset on trying to figure out how to reach that goal?
Changed my habits, discipline, how I trained, being open to being ambidextrous. So I had to be able to shoot both sides. I had to be able to take risks and started doing more acrobatic escapes. And you remember the smiley roll,
Mhm.
the Grammy roll,
Was that the head and arm, the gator roll?
yeah, gator roll, and then Smiley did something too.
Smiley stole both of those moves from me. Let's be real. The Smiley Revolution was the head and arm from the feet,
Yeah,
and I was doing that all Greco. But the Smiley Revolution, the one he named, that's when he gave Josh Hunt the concussion in the practice room we had the 2-on-1, and then you pop him up, take him down to the mat.
but I think he called it the smiley face or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, he called it the smiley face,
Yeah,
because he gave his teammate a concussion because he did it wrong.
or
Poor Hunt, man, he was puking outside, lights were bright. Oh, but I actually almost got disqualified in a match for a slam just like that.
yeah, making someone do like a aerial cartwheel.
Do you, yeah, it was at Mission San Jose. I went up to 130 and I got headbutt in the eye right off the whistle and got put in a head and arm right on my back to begin with. So I'm like, here. I'm like, no, you're not about to pin me. So I work my way back up and I get it back to my feet and I have them in a 2-on-1. And then so I do the same thing, but I hook underneath his left leg like a Navy ride, you know?
Yeah,
And I bring him all the way up and then just Batista bomb fold this dude.
got bodied.
The whole place went quiet, dead quiet. Then you hear the slam, then you just hear, "Wah!"
Yeah, wish we had
People,
cameras back then.
well, we did, but except for they weren't there that tournament. Megan
Yeah,
and Vanessa. So our film crew wasn't even there. Had the best slam of the season. But yeah, I knew the ref, so I didn't get disqualified. He told me, dude, I almost had to. So yeah, but yeah, that was always anytime I had a 2-on-1, it was my takedown. So well, let's talk about yours. Let's do what was your favorite takedowns
Yeah, firemen's
all day?
all day. I let them walk into it, and then boom, execute.
Yeah, pinch that arm tight. Mm,
Yep, and flip.
and roll. Yeah, you know which one made me want to do the firemen's more was the movie Vision Quest we watched on the sleepover, that old wrestling movie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's all like working at a hotel, and so every time he's waiting for the hotel elevator to come up to his floor, he just does push-ups till it gets there, and he beat the stud with a fireman's carry, and it was so smooth. Now, outside of the firemen's, what other kind of offense did you like to use?
turkey bar.
Turkey bar. That was definitely
Yeah.
your favorite pin.
Oh yeah. I know it worked on fish, but it also worked on studs. So yeah, I did something right.
Yeah, you get that head lever right there in the armpit, and you just run around them.
Yeah, crank.
Yeah, see, and for someone like you, who I would say your true talent lied in your speed. You were able to not only engage but also react very fast, and that helped put you in more scramble positions. And whenever you're able to scramble, that's whenever you could catch a thing like a turkey bar.
Yeah.
Now, outside of the turkey bar, what was the other your kind of pins that you like to shoot for?
I actually would barely pin. I would just go for takedowns.
Yeah, kind of more of a tech guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I started tilting people because I got tilted and teched from a kid from College Park. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know you could do that. And when the guy wasn't really doing nothing, he was just holding me. So then I learned, hey, tilts work. You just rack up your points. But so let's talk about after you made your goal, you decided that you wanted to reach state. How was your next year after that goal was set?
Uh, it just got harder and harder. I had to align my academic goals and my habits outside of school. I had to align everything, life changing, just to become more competitive in wrestling.
It's really one of those sports where you have to give it everything or it's not going to be fun. Uh,
Yeah.
Martial arts is the other. It's you don't have teammates that will pick you up on a bad day. It's
Yeah.
it's just you out there. Now, so when you realigned all of your your extracurricular, I can't say that word today. Your extra activities. So you aligned everything up. You got it going. When was it that you noticed you were on the right path? That all of that kind of sacrifice was starting to pay off?
When I started having more, I guess, confidence and awareness for myself, so I told myself, hey, if I try or shoot for the takedown, because I usually would be the counter guy. I'm like defense and then counter takedown. But what if I just go for the takedown? And then when I take someone down, I was like, oh, those are my 2 points, not the 2 points that they messed up on. So then I was like, okay, I got this. So then I started practicing more and more and more. Started doing thousands of takedowns with the dummy and fireman's carry. And then I 98% success for fireman's carry.
That's good. Very good. Yeah, man. It's funny because people they just really walk right into that fireman's too. It's one of those moves that seems a little old school, but old school still works.
Oh yeah.
Like me, I was outside of Greco. I like the outside singles, the low singles, and work that whole high crotch, run the pike, treetop. You know that whole sequence. Um, so so you started landing your takedowns. You started being more aggressive and confident in your abilities. And then so what was your first big win where you're like, "Hey, I got this."
When I went against ranked kids towards like the semifinals of a competition, and or when I placed and got my first medal, I was like, oh, cool. I could be like Alex Scott or George Scott.
I was trash, bro.
No, you were getting medals left and right.
Yeah.
Walking home every weekend with a medal. You're like, oh, I forgot which one I had.
I did though. I always forgot. I don't even know where any of them are now. It's
Yeah, you
just
almost broke your neck just wearing all those medals on your neck. All that metal, dude.
hey man, you made it a lot further than I ever did though. So that just speaks to your volume as well. Think about that. I would have to say you're a better wrestler than I at this point.
No, you're still more aggressive.
Yeah. I mean,
Just to
at
kick my
112s,
butt.
no one can handle my aggression. I
Yeah,
um
no one.
I was a lightweight bully.
Yeah, pretty much.
But so let's talk about that magical senior year that you had with actually placing top 6 in CCS and being a state alternate wrestler. Now, for people who aren't aware of what CCS is, that is for high school, the Central Coast sections. And usually in wrestling, the people who place top 4 in sections qualify for state. So CCS is from South San Francisco all the way down to the Fremont area. So Alex Lebroski here, he decided that he wanted to beat everybody up from the whole Central Coast section. Now, talk us through your senior year.
Uh, it's pretty grueling. I gave it my all right after 11th grade season. I started legit running 25 miles a day. Started doing 2 hours of stairmasters. I actually took the wrestling dummy that weighed just as much as me, and it was actually taller than me back home every time. It was my carpool buddy, pretty much. Started doing fireman's carry, started dropping it, started doing suplexes left and right.
Yeah, that suplex game is just it opens up so much of your other move sets whenever
Yeah,
you can threaten with a throw.
I got it down so well that I was able to legally suplex people during matches when they're on bottom and they stand up, just put them back down.
Yep. And when you're on top, it's all about control. Heavy
Yeah,
hips, rubbing that face into the mat. Because what did Sugars always tell us? If it don't hurt, it don't work.
oh, yeah.
And so your senior year, was it Coach Gary or Coach Sugars?
Coach Gary.
Coach Gary. And yeah, so that's
Yeah,
where you really got your throws and your
yeah.
suplexes.
Taught me a lot of judo.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it was the year after that that I became the assistant coach.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, man, I wish I would have been there to see that magical season of yours. Now, who was it that you felt was your biggest competition going into that CCS tournament?
I don't remember his name anymore, but I wanted to go against that kid. I always did. I was like, this kid won't outlast me, no way. Because like for me, like Smiley called me Goku, like that was my
Mhm.
nickname. So like period one, all right, period two, Super Saiyan one, period three, Super Saiyan two, go all out, take
Oh,
advantage of
yeah.
them being tired.
Yeah, we never had a huge team, but, uh, we had dogs, man. We
Yeah.
only had 7 people, but we'd still win dual meets. Like, how? We just pin everybody. Um, so now after you af how talk me through that tournament. How did CCS go for you? Did you win your first couple matches and then hit
Ended
a
up in,
roadblock?
yeah, semifinals, I believe. Was that a roadblock? It was between me and Michael Lim. And towards the last, I was thinking I was down by two, like 4-2. And towards the last minute of the match, I just decided to go. I threw a head toss into a hip throw into it's basically a 5 point move
Yeah, to a
onto
head
their
no.
back. Yeah, had an arm, had him there for the entire third period. Nothing happened. Referee didn't give me the points, 5 points. I ended up losing the match. I remember the Monterey High School crowd. They were yelling. They were just saying "boo." They were just yelling. I remember that. The ref and my coach got into a fight. We lost team points. I remember that too.
That's worth team points right there. You just cost a
Oh yeah,
kid a chance at state.
I know. But
And all because of bad officiating, and I miss the I miss the days where referees were enemy number one in the public's eye. But so, yeah, dude, that happened to me at CCS too. I went 2-2 the first day. So my my first match is whenever that dude from Gonzalez kept throwing up on me. You remember?
oh, sick.
Yeah, all over my shoes, my knee pads, and they weren't giving me my points, and they weren't. He was already out of all of his injury, blood time, whatever they call it nowadays,
Yeah.
and still they. And then I won 2 matches in a row, and then I lost my 4th match to a guy from Saratoga. Now, it was the same kind of situation yours had, except for I was down by 1 point, and the guy took my back. And so I tripod up and fighting the legs, and then boom, I lock my hands and I put him in a cradle while he's on my back, and I shake him off so that I'm on top with a cradle on this dude's shoulders, pinning him. And the ref says, no reversal, end of match. And uh, I lost like 10-11. And that was to make it to the top 8.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, I understand how it feels whenever, it's out of your control and you did everything right, and it's still, it's one of those life's just ain't fair moments. But so you went to state tournament as an alternate. How was that experience like watching those kind of matches?
Trying to remember. It's way back. Bakersfield. It was pretty cool to have that light shining on you.
Just that one mat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like the finals. Um, it just it felt like a final.
Yeah.
And so, did you do any club wrestling like freestyle Greco outside of the season?
I didn't really compete in Greco or freestyle, but I mean, not in high school.
Yeah, and we're working our way there. So,
Yeah.
so Now that you finished high school, you're, in my eyes, a state qualifier. You you kind of set your goal and you pretty much reached it. As close as you can possibly get due to a ref. And so then you go to college and you started at Irvine.
Yeah, East Irvine.
And so you joined the wrestling team there, I assume.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Walk us through that. How was the college experience?
First off, I was 103 pounds, so I had to gain 22 pounds for the next weight class. Since college wrestling was 125 pounds for the minimum. That
Oh
was
yeah.
pretty fun. I just ate 3 to 4 times a day and lift, lift.
It was hard for me trying to gain weight because I can't eat that much. I only need like 1 or 2 meals a day, like I don't it's so hard just to constantly eat and eat and eat. It's so hard. But how were you able to do it? What was kind of your diet that you used to put on that weight?
So I had dorm food, so it was all you can eat buffet, and I had like the highest, I guess, voucher to go in as many times as I want and just feast myself because I didn't get that much food back in high school to begin with.
Yeah, I know. I was the same way. My parents made just a tiny bit more for the reduced lunch, but not enough to give me no lunch money.
Yeah, they need to redo that entire system.
Yeah, I don't even understand why they're charging anything excessive for that kind of food to begin with. It's all microwave food.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you were back in the day, like whenever you were cooking sloppy joes and enchilada, all that kind of stuff for your school lunches, that's one thing. But not if you're just going to give me stuff that I could go pick up at Walmart for cheaper.
Right.
Now, Irvine, you said you were there for a little bit. So you gained all the weight, got up to 125. How was the wrestling?
That's more intense. Uh, it was basically like in school, valedictorians going against other valedictorians, but for wrestling, I was going against a bunch of state studs and no fishes.
Yeah, they're all weeded out by then.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so what would you say was your favorite part about being on the college team?
I just kept my physicality in check, kept me healthy, my mindset and my discipline carried throughout college.
Oh yeah. And I mean that must be tough, pretty much being a scientist on the going to school.
Yeah.
Now after you left Irvine, did you said you went to Boston?
Oh yeah. So I moved to Boston last year to study at Harvard.
And did you wrestle for Boston University at all?
I actually was hardcore creeping and stalking and looking for a wrestling room. Actually would just go into any room or door available and was like, "Where's the wrestling room?" Because I would ask people and they were like, we think it's in here. No one knows the answer." And I was like, "Where's the wrestling team?" I know I could just send an email, which I did, but I never got a response. So I was like, "Where's this wrestling room? Where are the people?"
Oh
Like
man,
I wouldn't mind being a sparring partner. Like just, hey, come at me.
come at me, bro.
Yeah.
I got these hands. They're made of stones. But so you did you ever find it?
Never found it. Oh yeah, I was bummed out. And it was cold
Like-
too.
They're like, you mean the hockey rink down there, eh?
Right.
Oh, that's good. That's good. But so what was it like being on the East Coast? compared to being on the West Coast your entire life?
Well, I'm a beach boy because growing up in Seaside, we lived by the beach. We lived by Monterey Bay. Going to UC Irvine, we had surfing. So Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, Laguna Beach. And then when I moved to Boston, I was like, where's the beach? Snow is not the beach. Snow is not water. And I was like, okay. Yeah, it got really cold.
Yeah. So your first winter there, pretty rough?
That was pretty rough. Except I
Ooh.
successfully dodged every snowstorm.
Oh, yeah. That's how you want to do it too.
Hmm.
Now, I assume that you like the West Coast better.
Oh yeah, West Coast, West Coast.
Oh, yeah. Tupac over Biggie, y'all. Just remember that. Biggie was a glorified drug dealer. Tupac was out here actually living it. That's where I make my case. So, who you got, Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac.
Yeah, Shakur, baby. But so you moved back, and now are you still going to Harvard, or are you back at Irvine?
I'm at Harvard, or I'm taking classes online. So I would wake up at like 5 a.m. every morning, every day.
Yeah, because they're on that East Coast schedule.
Yeah, 3 hours behind for us.
Which is still over here living in the past, man. But so we got you back at Irvine. Have you wrestled since you've been back?
No, unfortunately. Um, even before the pandemic, I didn't get a chance to do any like contact sports.
Yeah, and I can't even imagine now with the pandemic how contact sports are going to make a comeback in schools.
Yeah,
It's just pretty crazy. Um, so being a public health, uh, is it your master's you're going to have next semester?
yeah, masters, and I'm also applying to a PhD
Nice. So
this coming cycle.
with almost your master's in the bag, what what is your thoughts and your opinions on this whole pandemic? Do you think people are overreacting, underreacting?
I don't really have much to say, but otherwise, then if we can all come to an agreement for something, we can get a lot more done.
Exactly. It's this 1 foot in, 1 foot out with everybody is just making it take longer. I mean, all the other countries are pretty much up and running back to normal, and we're still 8, 9 months, almost a human pregnancy into this thing, and no end in sight. And I just wish people would take it just a little bit more seriously, even if they don't truly believe it's that bad. You know, pretend that it is so that we can get through this faster. That, that's all. And knowing my wife works with COVID patients, 9 of her coworkers had COVID in the past month. So we've been on strict lockdown. I uh, I get tested every time she gets tested. Um, so she gets tested once a week. Now I think they're going to have to bump up to twice a week. And it's just, I haven't been able to see uh, half of my family. I have a stepmom who's pretty much on her last limbs with kidney failure. I have my grandparents are old. My wife's parents are old and got diabetes and all this other stuff. So we can't take any risks, and that's what makes it really hard. I So if you guys don't want to do it for anyone else, do it for me. Do it for me. And Alex here. So that's my little pandemic preaching right there. So let's get back to the man of the, I guess, hour or more. So so now that you're done wrestling, what are some of your new or older hobbies that you kind of revitalized or found?
Uh, I'm still stuck with piano. Still play by ear. It's pretty fun. Go to the beach a lot, so I'm doing surfing, which is like skimboarding and surfing. So I like to do both.
Nice. I'm more of a boogie board guy,
Nice.
but I do love me some skimboarding though. Just going after wrestling practice and falling in the water, just felt good.
Oh,
Well, let's talk about the difference in the programs per se from college and high school wrestling. What were the coaches like, and what was the dynamic in the room like?
yeah. It's pretty much in college. We didn't really have a coach. Well, we did have a coach, but he was like the president of the wrestling club, and he was a grad student. Uh, he knew a lot. I respect him a lot. He was like my sensei, and it's pretty much like if you can make it, you can go, and you can make it. It's kind of like on your own schedule to practice. You're more independent.
Got you. Yeah,
Yeah,
less micromanaging.
yeah,
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's they still get paid whether you win or lose. It's up to you if you want to win. You can't make someone want it more than you do.
yeah.
And I just wish that we had things like middle school programs where we could have been able to get into it sooner, because I felt if me and you both would have started sixth grade, man,
Oh
sky would
yeah,
have been the limit.
oh yeah. I mean, we kind of squashed. I don't know, 5 years of wrestling in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, pretty condensed.
Yeah.
So let's talk about more of why you decided to wrestle and what kept you in it. So you were talking about how you set the goal and everything to go to state, be all this, but wh- what was some of your favorite reasons of being on the high school team? Like what was it that made you feel like, hey, this was a family, this was the people that I want to associate with?
Oh, I totally appreciate the kinship. I feel like everyone was relatable. Everyone came from different backgrounds, and coming from Seaside High, one of the most diverse schools in California, yeah, I miss it all.
I loved this those food fairs and all that, because we had the Asian club, the uh, Hawaiian club, every club that you could think of, and we would just have food from every culture. You just go from booth to booth and try the local cuisine. And so the diversity and the camaraderie was the biggest part for you.
Oh yeah, we also looked
Yeah.
out after each other outside of wrestling practice as well. So it's kind of cool to have like an older brother since I was like the eldest brother of my family.
Yeah. And being the middle child in mine and a twin, I was lucky to always have that brother my age who was into the same things I was, and we were able to really push each other. And growing up, we always had a training partner, no matter what it is. And so, not a lot of people were as lucky as we were. And that's whenever you join a team and you find those like-minded people, you can finally feel that sense of belonging. And I'm glad that we were able to, provide that for you. Um, so how about you tell me a couple of your favorite stories from wrestling.
The first thing that came up to my head was Darrell Ramsey.
That guy.
Oh, I love him. He's awesome. But let's go with I guess one of my personal matches. I remember Coach Sugars was like, I told him like, yo, I could score 100 points in this match. I'm going against this fish, and he was like, no, you're not going to score 100 points. So I started like taking him down, letting him go, taking him down, letting him go. Towards like the 30 and 15 area, I started letting him take me down, and then I get out to like offset the points. I think I was hitting like 40 points, and then he got super mad and just says, "Hey, pin him already!" And then he started threatening me, so I just pinned him, tech pinned him. But yeah, I was trying to get 100 points, man.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, he got so
Dude.
mad.
Dude, and you got up to about 40 points?
Yeah.
So for people who haven't wrestled, if you get a 15-point lead on somebody, that is what they call as a technical pin, technical fall. So,
Technical fall, yeah.
and that means that the match is over, you win because you beat them by 15 points. It's like a mercy rule. So Alex would take him down, get his 2 points, ride him a little bit, get some near fall points, and then let
No,
him
no
up.
near falls. I actually wouldn't get any near fall.
Okay, and then he would let him up to get the 1 point.
Yeah.
And so that way he would stay under the 15-point limit. Oh, that's too good. That's too good. I applaud you, sir. That's awesome, man. So I'm assuming that was your favorite match?
No, it was just a funny match, like a full laughs.
Yeah. Well, what are some others?
Darrell Ramsey, going back to that. I remember in league, he was talking about Burger King. Everyone was talking about Burger King, eating Burger King right before a match. And then when he won, he was really lazy. But when they raised his hand up, he just threw it up on the floor. All the Burger King that he ate.
Oh, you remember Viet? Hey, coach, I'm about to go to BK. I'll be back.
Yeah.
And then he would come back with PK, man. Oh man, we had characters though. We did. I remember me and Zach beating the hell out of Ramsey one time in the back of the van with pillows because he just wouldn't. He was just pushing buttons and he wouldn't stop. So we ended up there hopping back there, just whooping up on him. Oh, and you remember? I don't remember who it was.
Non.
Was it non? I'm thinking about the Kool-Aid. We were at a wrestling tournament, and a couple of the teammates thought it was real funny to take a packet of Kool-Aid with no sugar and mix it with a tiny bit of water and take shots of it until you couldn't take any more shots.
Yeah.
They were like, "Hey, how much you want some?" I'm like, "No, I got a match. What are you guys doing?" I think it was Close Classic. It might have been. And that was the match where everybody started throwing matches so that they could go wrestle at the JV tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my favorite I think it was your football. It almost got me in trouble.
Oh, yeah. So it's technically my fault.
It's all your fault because I ain't blaming myself. We have a football in the wrestling room, and I get this bright idea like, hey, I'm gonna take this ball and I'm gonna punt it as hard as I possibly can indoors. And so I kicked that ball with all of my 112-pound might and bust the light above the wrestling mat,
Yeah,
the
with like
cover that goes over the fluorescent, broke it. We went outside, took it, hit it, and coach never noticed. Coach never noticed. So if you're listening, sugars, my bad.
totally.
Oh, well, so outside of that, you got any other funny stories, like when Sugars busted his head open on the door when he
I
tried
don't
to jump?
remember.
Oh, that was funny. I forgot who. Someone tried to fart on him, and he jumped out the way, but he jumped up into the door frame, cracked his head, and split it open right here in the middle of his bald head, and it's just bleeding.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah. So who would you say were some of uh, your athletic athletes or things that you looked up to uh, going through and growing up? Um,
I don't know where to start, but I guess in high school, you got Mason Foster, Michael Avila, you got Darrell Ramsey. Because even though he was funny and he was like on the smaller side of the heavyweights, he still show up with W's. He
you
still do upsets.
you remember whenever he got disqualified from the tournament?
I don't remember.
He was getting pinned, and so he bit the heavyweight who was pinning him's nipple. Just got a big old chunk. Um, got disqualified. Lost team points.
Uh,
Like, how are you gonna put that sweaty nipple in your mouth at the end of a wrestling match? That's gross, man.
he tried to Mike Tyson him.
Oh, this guy's walking around with one nipple nowadays, and
Yeah.
what happened? Oh, high school wrestling injury.
Oh yeah. So yeah, back to inspos. I guess in football, it's Mason Foster, Michael Avila, Chris Nguyen, Quano, and then wrestling, John Pasulo, Aaron Smiley, Michael Pham, you guys, Scott Brothers, aka the Diaz brothers back in the day.
We were pretty similar, man.
I think you were the Nate Diaz, and he was and George was like the Nick Diaz. He was much more mature than you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure,
Yeah.
and bigger too. So the
Oh yeah.
weights match.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, what about professional athletes? Did you have favorite professionals that you looked up to?
Uh, Gamble for sure. Right? It was Gamble, right? I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
remember. Definitely
Gable.
DC. Yeah, Gable. Kale Gable, right?
No, that's Kel Sanderson.
Kale
Um,
Sanderson. That was him. I'm getting all
eh,
mixed up.
oh yeah, Dan Gable. Dan Gable.
Dan Gable, Kale Sanderson, DC. Before DC was DC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Did you know Coach Roberto from Monterey?
Oh yeah, I definitely looked up to him. I was gonna add him to my coaches that I've always looked
Eh,
up to.
He made the Olympic trials,
Yeah, he's a boss. He'd always
and
let me
now
go to practice at Monterey.
he
Everyone was
loves.
like, "What is this guy doing here? This guy's from Seaside. He ain't our color. Get out of here!" And then just like in their eyes, and then I was like, "I'm just here to practice. Like, I learned from you guys. You guys learn from me. Cool.
Right? It's a mutual symbiotic relationship.
Yeah." But I'd be mobbing on all the lightweights around my weight class, and then everyone would get mad. They're like, "All right, who's gonna take this guy down?" And I was like, "I need someone better." So I would go up against the 25 pounders. And I'm like, "All right, this is where I get wrecked."
Yeah. At a certain point, I mean,
Yeah, at a
size,
certain point,
size is strength.
3 pounder cannot keep up.
Yeah, it's like you get sprawled on, man.
Oh, out muscle for sure.
It's rough because I trained against people bigger my entire life. You know, you were probably my smallest training partner I've ever had ever.
Yeah, definitely.
And so whenever you have people like Aaron Smiley, Jesse Gray, and John Fasulo, those big boys starting to sprawl on you, and you get caught underneath of them, man, that's so bad on your back and your shoulders. But so Berto, yeah, he made it to the Olympic trials, and now he is the regional director of USA Wrestling.
Whoa,
Yeah.
wow.
So he's up there. Hopefully one day I need to get in contact with him. I'd love to have him on, pick his brain a
Yeah,
little bit.
I want to say thank you to him one day.
Exactly. Just go back, reminisce. I know George, he still prides himself on taking Berto down one time.
Yeah.
But that's a heck of a person to take down, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so so you let's get back to some of your hobbies nowadays. So you're going border border what is it? Skirting?
I skimboarding and then also surfing.
Yeah, but what did you call it? What was the name?
Scarfing.
Scurfing. There you go. I'm gonna have to
Skirt
remember
skirt.
that. Scurf. But so so you do that, you play your music. Is it just piano that you play?
Oh yeah, piano. Also do a little orchestral and electronic. But I'm focusing more on piano right now because I'm trying to push them out for publication. All 209 of them.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. You'll have to send me a couple, see which one I need to use on here.
Oh, definitely. I'll do some music therapy for you too.
Oh yeah. And so how long have you been playing the piano?
Since the end of like the cusp of eighth grade and ninth grade, yeah, I started really late. We were
Yeah.
broke, so we didn't have lessons. So I just started playing around the keys until I matched Super Mario Brothers and um, Final Fantasy songs, Kingdom Hearts, Pokemon. Yeah,
Yeah, the only one I could play on the piano was So Fresh and So Clean.
nice.
That was it. But I played a bunch of instruments myself, just never really at a higher level. I mean, I was in the drum line in the band and everything, but
Yeah,
you know, I was the bass player in the back. I could never work a 12 set drum kit or. But when my eyes went bad and I couldn't read music no more is whenever I stopped with music. But now I'm trying to pick up the harmonica
do it.
now. Um, so I've just been working on that a little bit. But one of these days I might show y'all if I get some confidence in that. Well, so the instruments, all that. Why don't you tell me a little bit about some of your technician lab research?
Oh yeah, so I'm a research associate. I was formerly a research associate for Harvard School of Medicine under Team Haiti for pediatric surgery, but that kind of got canceled due to all of this and the lack of funding. Kind of bummed out. But currently, I'm in research for the McLaren lab. So we focus on hematology. A recent project I've been working on is hemochromatosis and the iron overload. So we
Okay.
work with iron deficient patients, specifically African American females. And we had another sample size too with Caucasian females. And I was just looking for correlations and associations for hepcidin, which is a regulator for iron metabolism, and it's looking for whether it was associated with like iron stores from ferritin levels, because I've noticed that different patients have obviously different metabolism rates. Ferritin is like a protein that stores the iron and releases it in a controlled fashion.
So is it kind of like a hormone in that sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for some of us who haven't taken any kind of health or science class and aren't too familiar with the terminology, hemo is blood. Um, and what did you say it was? Hemoglobin?
Hemoglobin?
Your
It's about
hemo what?
hemo, hemochromatosis.
Comatosis. Okay. And what is comatosis?
Uh, I mean, like the actual what do you call that? Latin term?
Yeah, like what
Well,
yeah, I mean or altogether.
okay. So hemochromatosis is a disorder. It goes back to what I said, the iron overload. So it's like an irregulation of iron in your body.
Okay.
But I'm actually
Damn it.
curious of like the Latin breakdown.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz that's where it all derives from anyways. Um so you're studying the process of iron through the bloodstream in a group of African American women and Caucasian women separately
Yeah.
to try to find where they overlap and what the differences are so that way you could key in on those.
I'm also determining biomarkers for see if we can have like detection for any other core like comorbidities.
Mhm. Yeah. See, because if we can find the causes to a lot of these things, then we can really just start working on possible cures and alternate ways of helping these people through these kind of challenges that they have.
I mean, ultimately, I want to help develop treatments.
Nice. See, so for with my eyesight, it's I have juvenile macular degeneration, a form called Stargardt's. So my eyes don't process vitamin A correctly, and so it's kind of like a misty shower door, if you would say. It just kind of coats, and you know how like you're brushing your teeth, and then some of it splats on the mirror. Uh, that's kind of how my eyes are. There's just little dots, hardly noticeable, but they block my central vision, and it's all due to a buildup of vitamin A. How does that work? So there's your next study. You got to figure out how to make me not blind.
Ophthalmology, fun.
No.
No.
No. No, if you know how many nerve endings are in the eye, you'll quit before you start. I'm gonna leave that for the smart people. But did you ever find the term for that? Coma,
Oh, so
comatosis?
chromato is stemmed from color or
Color.
pigment.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So now is that the only type of research you've done, or have you worked with other uh, kind of, I don't want to say diseases, but disorders maybe?
I've worked with other labs in health and non-clinical.
Okay. And what were those kind of entailing in
Uh,
layman's terms?
don't know where to start. It's a lot. But I worked in a aging lab, so I worked with fruit flies, determining like environmental and evolutionary factors. One of my professors pretty much played God and stirred evolution in his flies. It's
Pretty
pretty,
interesting.
yeah, it's pretty interesting.
So are they like do they got
Super
more
flies.
arms, more
No,
wings? They
they
carry
just live
guns?
significantly longer.
Do they have thumbs, now they're making weapons? Like, what's going on here?
They're just living forever. Not
Like you can
literally,
play
but like,
I don't I don't mind if people play Jesus, just don't play God.
yeah. Also, what else? I've worked in organic chemistry lab. I worked in a alternative medicine lab and endocrinology lab at the NIH.
And what is the NIH?
National Institute of Health.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in Bethesda, Maryland.
Okay. Did you go all the way to Maryland, or where is it
Yeah,
remote?
it's by DC. It's not really fun.
No.
Rent's expensive. The streets are kind of dirty, but I like the campus a lot.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, especially around Baltimore area in
Yeah,
Maryland. It's funny, all these blue states are the ones that are the roughest right now. Tennessee, you know, I just hope that, we can all remember how to live together again. And it's a shame that he lets things as silly as how tan you are, or how much money you have, or what color car you drive. It's just people want to put other people into groups and categories and just completely take the individualism away. And the thing that I love, and main reason why I started this podcast, was because it doesn't matter if you have 100 wrestlers that I interview in a row. Every single one of them are going to say something different and take away different lessons, morals, and experiences, because everyone is an individual. We're not all just one group. And so hopefully that we kind of get back on track here. Um, Now, outside of your surfing and music and curing the world one lab research at a time, uh, what else are you up to these days? What do you do for fun?
um, that's fun. I'm just kidding. Still
Exactly.
volunteering. Still volunteering at the hospital. I just hit 10 years at the UC Irvine Medical Center.
Nice. Whole decade.
Yeah, a whole decade. I was like, what? That's crazy.
You're like the Undertaker. Just you're gonna be there forever.
So
Make it change one day at a time. But so we got to talk about your wrestling, your gymnastics, your sports, what you're up to these days, um, where you're at. So let's kind of end with a little bit of a fun thing I like to do, where I'm gonna give you the option between two separate topics. You will pick one of them, and I will give you a random fact associated with it. So let's start out. I had to come up with a couple new ones, but do you want one that deals with animals or the United States?
United Animals. Just getting
United
both.
States of Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, totally.
So I'll give you both. Like radio, I want both. Well, you're gonna get both. Um, so let's start with the animal. Did you know that the tree frog in Alaska can hold its urine for up to 8 months?
Why?
Crazy, right? Like, and I'm glad you asked why, because there is a reason. So, during the very cold Alaskan winters, the frogs use the uric acidity, or the acidity from the urine, to help keep them warm through those harsh winters. And then once the
Thermoregulation.
temperature increases, then they go and relieve themselves. But talk about having to hold it, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather hold it for 5 minutes than 8 months, man. I don't know about you. Okay, and so let's get to the states. So there's 26 letters in the alphabet. and all of them are used in the names of states inside the United States except for one letter. Do you know what letter it is?
Q.
You got it.
Wait, really?
You got it. Hole in one, baby.
I was like scrolling through the letters, like, nope.
The only is Q that does not appear in a state's name in the United States.
Wow.
You know what? That was a good one. So since you knew that one, I'm gonna sneak in another one. Did you
Well,
know that the moon has moonquakes just as the Earth has earthquakes? That's a headquake right there.
yeah.
And when you really think about it, it's like, why wouldn't it? You know, it all a earthquake is whenever two tectonic plates slide across each other. So yeah, if there's gravity on other planets, then that means that there's going to be movement, and got to leave the earthquakes. In this case, moonquakes. Well, so if you didn't have fun today, at least you learned something new. But I think that that's all that we're really going to have time to do for today. I do have a class coming up, but
All good.
why don't you go ahead and give us some final comments? Anything you missed that you would like to mention, bring up? Any programs like your music is medicine and etc.
Well, you can find a lot of my things on social media handle at Alex Lebroski, pretty much any social handle. Um, I don't know. Do you want key takeaway notes, like 2 cents?
Yeah.
How about, I don't know, from my collective life experience, I'd probably tell others to stop comparing yourselves to others to begin with, and start comparing yourself to yourself, um, and just be better than who you were yesterday.
You want to be the change you want to see in the world. And
Yeah.
it's a simple statement, but it's one of the truest statements I've ever heard.
Oh, and you are your own masterpiece, you beautiful soul.
Thank you. Oh, wait, you weren't talking to me. Well, I mean, heck, at least I see you. You didn't get no prettier since high school, so that makes two of us. Oh, well, and so on a final note, if you could go back to those high school days, back on the wrestling team, what is one thing that you would you would have wished or seen or done different now that hindsight's 2020?
I blanked out, sorry. I'm hungry.
Story of my
Uh,
life.
I know, right? I don't know. Probably would spend more time actually enjoying high school rather than 24/7 at in a gym. I didn't really get to spend time with a lot of people.
Missed out on a lot of those uh, social
Oh yeah,
aspects.
yeah. I was just training, studying, training.
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny when we think about it. 4 years, that ain't nothing nowadays. Uh, Back then,
Oh yeah,
it was our whole life.
oh yeah, pretty much. Like one fourth of it.
Yeah, and so I would have told myself like, hey, don't think that this is the end. Don't think that if you don't accomplish everything you want to do in your 4 years of high school, um, you know, you're going to have plenty of time to figure it out and make your mark on the world, whether it be a good or a bad one. So, lastly, dang, now I blanked. Man, my excuse is I got punched in the head for a decade for money. um, shoot. So you got uh, you got your handles. Um, you got a way to reach Alex Lebroski. And I would like, okay, that's what it was. If you had one piece of advice for a kid on the fence of wanting to try wrestling out, what would your advice be to the people who are curious about wrestling?
Just try it out. I mean, just feed your curiosity.
Yeah, because you never know. And what do you really have to lose? You know,
Exactly. And
it's
that just applies to anything in life. Just try it. If it doesn't work, at least you tried.
yeah, it's always a no until you ask. So
Yeah.
so there's a chance you might enjoy it or a chance you might not. But state qualifying wrestler, medical genius to be, as working on your PhD soon after you get your master's. You got a lot of good things going for you, Alex, and I'm just happy to see you doing so well. You look great. You look, and it sounds like you're just doing some awesome things in life, and you know, it's people like you that we need a lot more of.
Thanks,
Yeah. One of my favorite training partners, the Bolt, the Lightning, the fastest man in Seaside, uh, the Turbo Jet, the Spark Plug, the Goku. Oh no, only Goku was his real name.
Leroy. I remember
Leroy.
Smiley. Yeah, you kept calling me Leroy. I was like, what? Yeah,
Smiley kept calling everybody everything. I can't wait to
that's
have
true.
him on.
Oh yeah,
Just needs to get some time from the military where he'll be able to sit down for a minute. Um, but other than that, I would like to thank everybody who listened or watched. This is Alex Lebroski, one of my favorite people, one of my training partners, and one of my idols. So I would love to have you back on eventually. Um, we'll be able to get into some more stories and things like that. Um, but until then, I want to thank everybody for listening, and we will catch you next time on Alex and an Athlete.